From one end of the spectrum to the other. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer.
Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged.
Okay, so we've got some files in the Idaho 4 case, but I'm not going through all of them in this video. What I'm going to do right here is show you guys the ones that I've now posted publicly, and we're going to go through one all the way because I was sort of skimming through it in the bathtub, and I don't want to sit here and go through a whole bunch of duplicative data the same way that we've done with all of these previous huge document dumps. So I'm going to do a video after this one of just whatever nuggets of information, things that the state is claiming when it comes to the files that are being submitted. From what I'm seeing so far, I'm not impressed. Like the very first one that I was scrolling through, it looks like the defense is failing to attach exhibits that are needed. Like they're referencing certain things, but they're not actually adding the exhibits to the memorandum itself. So it's like they're going from having too much information, according to Judge Hippler, too much fluff, to now they're forgetting things that are important. And I actually went back to the Pennsylvania Commonwealth's website earlier today just to try to get some clarification on that December 2023 date that the defense has used over and over and over and over, copying and pasting a typo the entire time. And there is nothing for 2023, just like I thought that there wasn't. So it is just a typo that they copy and pasted in like 7 different documents. I mean, at this point, insufficient counsel is probably looking good for Mr. Kohberger. People can say what they want about Anne, but the last few months have been extremely, extremely sloppy. And it's causing the fight to be hypocritical and ironic. They've sat there and complained about the probable cause affidavits being copy-paste and duplicative while also doing the exact same thing with what they're doing. They're also filing a bunch of fluff while complaining about how the PCA is basically just a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of fluff. So I don't really know what's happening here. I mean, all we can really do is take this whole thing like a day at a time because literally every day it's just a whirlwind. Okay, so at the bottom here, we have the notice of hearing, but this is the hearing that happened on the 11th, yesterday, that was remote yet closed. We have no idea whatsoever what happened. Now, the one that we had before that was right here, this 1126 stipulated motion to seal. What we were waiting on was what I showed you guys in the community tab a couple days ago, which was all of these from the state to finally come through. Now, I looked through just this very first one. And they have already come out swinging with, you're missing this, and that too. And what is this? This is insufficient. You're missing exhibits. So yeah, so far I'm not impressed whatsoever. Now we are getting this sort of late. It was filed on 12/6 and it is releasing today on 12/12. We're going to read through this one entirely so that you guys can get a gist of what the majority of these documents are going to be about. And then, like I said, I'll go through and get just the bits and pieces that are important and come to you guys with that stuff so that we don't have all these elongated videos that just drag out and take forever. So this is the state's objection to the defendant's motion to suppress the memorandum in support for the apartments. This is where the defense wanted anything and everything that came from Bryan Kohberger's apartment search to be completely suppressed for all of the reasons that they showed us, but also some additional reasons because every single one of these documents, the suppression documents that we went over publicly, has their own sealed files that we have no idea what they are, but apparently it's protected enough information to where they've got to keep it closed tight. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latell County prosecuting attorney and respectfully submits the following objection to the defendant's motion to suppress and memorandum in support regarding the search warrant for the defendant's apartment. Remember, again, when it comes to the apartment, that's where all of the craziness with John Daniels has happened. And I have videos on all that, so I don't have to rehash it all here. The defendant's instant motion regarding the search of his residence in the state of Washington substantially parallels his motions to suppress Pennsylvania search warrant for 119 Lambden Drive, Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and statements made, meaning they're pretty much the same. The Pennsylvania search warrant for Mr. Kohberger's person and the Pennsylvania search warrant for the defendant's vehicle. To avoid unnecessary repetition, the state incorporates herein the state's objection to defendant's motion to suppress and memorandum in support regarding Pennsylvania search warrant for 119 Lambsden Drive, Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and statements made, which itself further incorporates the state's responses to the defendant's Franks motion and motion to suppress genetic information. Regarding the defendant's represented facts as opposed to relying on defendant's subjective summary and interpretation, the state respectfully refers the court to defendant's Exhibit A in support for his motion to suppress search warrant for defendant's apartment filed under seal. So these are the sealed exhibits that they're talking about and complaining about. So we can't see it. We can basically only see what they're complaining about. The state notes that the defendant referenced Exhibit A, for some reason, does not include copies of the actual state of Washington search warrant and amendment to the search warrant for the defendant's apartment. We've gone over those very specifically here on this channel more than once. Those documents are attached here too as Exhibit S-1 and S-2 respectively, meaning the defendant is talking about Exhibit A being for these warrants, but the copies of the warrants themselves that they're referencing are not actually attached, which is what I meant. From one extreme to the other, from one end of the spectrum to the other, you've got too much information, you need to cut it down. Well, now you're not giving us anything that you're even talking about, so what is this? Not cute at all, ridiculous. Applicable law. In his memorandum at page 5, the defendant discusses what should be the applicable law between the states of Idaho and Washington. This is the same discussion the defendant presented in his various motions regarding search warrants from the state of Pennsylvania. This is true. And what I meant earlier by going back over the Pennsylvania Commonwealth documents, we've gone over it whenever I've mentioned that 166-page drop where we originally went over all the stuff for John Daniels and a couple of other little bits and pieces. But when it comes to the search warrants that they're talking about suppressing from Pennsylvania, the stuff about how the feds did all this, okay, that's all here. We're going to go through these because I was skimming through one of them earlier. I think it was this one right here for the home search warrant. I don't remember. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I don't remember which one it was, but it was either the search warrant for this one. It was either that one, this one, or this one. It was one of these three. And it read that the FBI actually took 4 swabs of Bryan Kohberger when they got him. Not just one, they swabbed him 4 times. So I'm assuming that it was top, bottom swabs. That makes the most sense. But that means that they would have done the exact same thing again just a couple days later whenever he got extradited back to Idaho. Because whenever we went through all the documents from the defense, we found out that the Fed swabbed him in Pennsylvania and they swabbed him in Idaho. That they had the warrant to get in to basically search his person and the house and all the things. But then there was a whole separate criminal complaint made whenever they got to the jail where they were holding him. And then there were swabs taken. But it's a little confusing because there's 3 different warrants. That's why I want to go through it. And we're going to go through it all over again so that we can try to get a better understanding, because the dates and the times and all that stuff does matter when it comes to technicalities. But in the end, honestly, all I care about is the real answer here. I know all these technicalities and stuff matters, but the truth is the truth is the truth. So I just really wish we would just get down to it already. And this is also true. They did mention this exact same argument in several motions. It's a lot of duplicative data. We've talked about that too. Similar to the state's response to these motions, the state acknowledges that there appears to be little, if any, substantive differences between the applicable laws between the states of Idaho and Washington, and the state submits that under either law, the defendant's motion should be denied, meaning there's nothing that was done that goes against either one of the laws, and the laws aren't different enough for there to need to be this argument in the first place, is how I'm sort of understanding that. Valid search warrants. Beginning at page 7 of his instant motion, the defendant asserts that the affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant recklessly or intentionally omitted material information. Substantively, this section of the defendant's motion merely refers to the defendant's separate Franks motion and argument. By way of preliminary response, the state notes that Idaho law clearly states that if a search is conducted pursuant to a warrant, the burden of proof is on the defendant to show that the search was in valid. And it references State versus Wilson from 1997, which cites State versus Kelly from 1984. Idaho recognizes the United States Supreme Court's analysis and holding that great deference is paid to the magistrate's determination for probable cause, citing Illinois versus Gates from 1983, Spinelli versus United States from 1969, and also State versus Josephson from 1993. As demonstrated by the Washington search warrant and amendment, which are the exhibits S-1 and S-2 that we can't see, which is kind of stupid, honestly. Why we can't see them if it's literally just the same search warrants that the public's already seen already, but okay. The search of the defendant's residence was done pursuant to specific Washington court-issued search warrants based on substantial probable cause. As to the balance of defendant's submissions, the state respectfully refers the court to and incorporates herein the state's separate responses to the defendant's Frank motion and motions to suppress regarding IGG, and the state's separate responses to the defendant's motions to suppress PIN, Trap, and Trace, and AT&T account. Based on the above, the state respectfully requests that the court deny the defendant's motion to suppress the search warrant for the defendant's residence in the state of Washington. And this is just Bill Thompson. Where's those two special attorneys? I guess they don't have to sign off on everything. Now, the next one is this Apple one, and it's 14 pages. And the arrest warrant, that one's only 5 pages, so that's not too horrible. Cell phone, only 5 pages. Then the Elantra, only 5 pages. It seems like a bunch of this is going to be pretty much like duplicative. That's why I don't want to go through every single one of them hardcore. I'm going to put all of them together that have the exact same information and just figure out a more organized and shorter, more quick to the point way to get the information out. All this is state's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. And then we also have the stipulated motion to seal the exhibits to the state's objections. So this is just everything from the state. There's no information out yet about what happened yesterday. Now, tomorrow is Friday the 13th. Okay, we all know what that normally means. So we'll see what happens. We might get some information. We might not, but we probably will. They like to drop a whole bunch of stuff on Friday. And considering that these were actually filed a week ago, I wouldn't be surprised if the defense already has filed their responses to this. As a matter of fact, let me go up real quick and check the case summary page and see if it shows if anything is going to pop up from them tomorrow. No, they don't have anything but the court minutes from yesterday popping up on here, which is, again, not anything that we ever get the chance to look at. Now, I have been working on the comparison and contrasting of Blaker versus Payne's PCAs. That's what you guys are seeing on the screen right now. This is where I'm at with it at the moment. I'm on about page 18 of them, and I have about 4 parts edited and together. I have 1 part that I need to edit, and then I need to continue recording, but I'm just taking my time with it because it's going to be kind of long, maybe about like 2 hours or so. So what I'm most likely going to do is schedule it out for a premiere so that I can be in chat with you guys. I really don't want to go live for it because it's going to be something already recorded. I do plan on going live at least once a week after the new year. I was talking to my kids about it because I know that I went live for a little while and then just stopped. And I don't know why, other than I just get into these things with the way that I want to do things and try to switch things up. And it's kind of hard for me to stay consistent with YouTube stuff whenever I have so much real life stuff happening that takes precedent over things. But I am going to try to start going live at least Wednesday evenings for an hour and a half, maybe after the first of the year, so I can get a lot of stuff more organized, because that's really what I want to do. I like actually getting on here and being able to talk to you guys, interact with you guys in real time. So that's definitely what I'm going to start making sure that I have scheduled. But let me know what you guys think so far about the information we have in just this one. I don't like that I'm hearing, after all of the complaining that the defense has done, they're being careless right here at the end. It's like once we got a change of venue, they started just making massive errors for no reason. Lots of spelling errors, lots of words missing completely out of sentences, duplicative copy and paste errors of an incorrect date whenever they're trying to go over the timeline. And it's insane to me that they just did it repeatedly without even caring, honestly, because the timeline that they're going after and talking about is the big part of their argument in a lot of those suppression documents. So just to sit there and copy and paste the wrong year completely into it is just insane to me. Like there's multiple people on that team, and they also have people that proofread stuff. So I don't know if they're doing it out of spite because of the whole way that the pay scale stuff has changed or what. But we know that Ann Taylor was handed, let's just say, a separate contract than what everyone else was handed, is how I'm understanding it, because her contract was handled literally separately and in the courtroom, and we heard about it from the guy who writes the contracts himself. But to go from you've got too much, you need to take some of this out and get to the point, to where's all your supporting evidence? This is basically an incomplete file. That's massively wild to me, and a complete 180, and I don't understand it. They're going to have to come out with something impressive here really soon, because it's not looking good. Like I feel like Bryan is going to end up definitely having an argument when it comes to ineffective counsel, just based off of the last couple of document drops that we've gotten, where we're basically being told from the state and the court, hey, y'all ain't doing y'all's job right. So let's just see how this goes. But I want to know what you guys think so far down in the comments. And if you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that your notification bell is set to all, so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.